Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Conscious Living Show. My name is Patricia, and tonight I've got the privilege of speaking with two wonderful beings from Florida in the US. And we have Patrick McCormick and we have Rebekah Renee. And Patrick and Rebekah are interdimensional channels of divine energies. And they're going to be helping us to create a wondrous experience at Conscious Living Expo this year. Patrick McCormick has been a channel for Cartron, who's an interdimensional being since 1994. And he was first activated to become a channel during the harmonic convergence in 1987. And since that time, they've been together, working together to really bring through activations and information around how we can ascend, how we can realize our destiny on this planet. And at this time, it's a really exciting time because we're transitioning from three-dimensional living into a higher frequency of living. So I'd like to talk with you about, what your story is and what your perspectives are and how you work with people. There's a lot to share. So perhaps we can start with Patrick.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on. It's really a great pleasure to be able to connect with people from around the world and to be able to be of like-minded soul. It was in '87 that I had my walk-in experience in Sedona, and then ever since then it was a spiritual journey winding up on Maui for 20 years to then have a major immersion into the higher dimensions and how they work. So I was able to take those few decades and turn them into a really great way to present it to humanity to help them wake up and ascend. And Cartron came through in 1994 on Maui, and he's been here ever since, really helping to get things going. So it's really a trans-dimensional experience being on this planet.
So, Patrick, how would you describe Cartron? I mean, do you have a sense of what his role is in terms of the universe and the awakening that we're going through?
Yes, he's an interdimensional being from the realm of essence, and he's here to maintain balance in the final moments of this grand experiment of the yuga that's finishing up, so that then it will be able to finish out all these experiences that are going on in a way that can be quite beneficial to creation itself as a result, like test results of this world. So that's what we're all going through right now. And Cartron is here to kind of like mediate or moderate or oversee to make sure everything stays in balance so we don't have another planetary weird thing going on like before. So,
like we had in Atlantis and other times. Destruction, catastrophe.
All the happy memories.
Well, I guess for some people who are new to this, I mean, I know many people are quite familiar with channeling, and there are so many different channels bringing through information at this time. But I just wanted to, get a little bit more understanding of what people would experience, when Cartron comes through, what changes happen, in your being, in your sort of spiritual body when you experience a transmission.
Well, I go, and then he comes in. It's like changing drivers in a car, and so it's not a big, jolt. So I've done it so many times, and then his energy work we found works really good remotely, like Rebekah's, but in a different way. And so this is about literally doing energy work anywhere in the world using today's technology to really help, and also sharing of a lot of quantum science, because Cartron is kind of like a sentient search engine of the mind of God. So he can bring through the information as he reads everybody, then he can put it into the words that they can best and most efficiently understand. So it's energy work and information, and then designing new systems to assist the new earth and this one connecting, and those beings who are choosing to go to that one. So it's a really interesting. You never know what's going to happen next. And he has a weird sense of humor that he's found beneficial to assist people in lightening up. So it's kind of that.
Yeah, and you said you talked about how at this time we've got to balance, the worlds of spirit and matter, and that Cartron assists us to get that balance, I guess, to feel that we're part of both worlds. Is that kind of what is happening?
Yes. Well, in the God working class God level, they maintain and they manage holograms and they get things going. So they handle the evolutions of races and stuff like humanities and the souls that are evolving. And so for us, it really helps to have a much greater connection to the higher energies that will allow us to stay connected to the source that we came from. So it's like it kind of creates relaxation. And then like there's the three systems that a pillar. It was a pillar of transformation. Now it's like a pillar of peace between heaven and earth. And then there's the God gate, which is now a greater access between the veil of life and death. And then there's the still point, which is now the soul point. So his work also evolves according to the evolutionary possibility of humanity. And so the energy work is he wants people to feel it. So his system is like practical divinity. He wants you to be able to feel and taste and touch it, so that then you can really make it real in this tactile sense world of the third dimension. So it's you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And Rebekah, your role is your connection and channel with the angelic realm. And do you want to share a little bit about how you work with those angelic frequencies?
Yes, absolutely. So in my story, it's interesting because I come from a very spiritual family, and in different ways, a lot of them psychic mediums, things like that. But they were all connected in one way or another to the spirit realm, whether it be someone's dead relative coming through with a strong message or something like that. On my grandmother's side, they had 14 children in their family, so a lot of psychic activity went on with them. So some of it is, I would say, inherited. The other aspect I developed over the years, I knew at age 14 in 8th grade pretty strongly that I was either going to be a psychologist or some sort of healer. So the call and the awakening started very young, and at some point I felt I was a little ahead of the curve as metaphysical things were kind of coming out of the spiritual closet back then, per se. But yeah, even, things as being young in school and having such a high sensitivity, reading the thoughts of people around me, or managing the energy. I felt that was kind of my issue, and being in a non-out there sort of way, managing other people's energy. It was already beginning for me, dealing with people that had huge problems, bringing peace to a group. And that was one of the things they had showed me over the years clearly, was you're going to work with groups. And they showed me things like spiritual extensions on how they would extend my energy field to expand and help.
It sounds like somebody's getting cleared.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, expand my field out even to your field.
Are you guys okay?
Yes, no, we're good.
See, it doesn't matter how far away you are. We know where you live. We can connect.
Yeah.
So it just advanced over the years and got stronger and stronger, even to the point where I had went to on a trip to Australia in 2013 and came back, and the angels decided it was time for an upgrade, and I couldn't get out of bed for 5 months. It was an unusually strong upgrade, and I said, well, to you, I said, hey, you guys, I want to function. I'm having trouble. I had a healing center. I couldn't even be part of that. Was trying to tether in bigger angels, larger and stronger, and it was like, they're like, don't worry, take the time for yourself, but when you come back in, it's going to be really powerful. So that's the blessing that they bring in working through me. I normally get pretty good results with people or with groups, and I'm able to take them to super high levels of consciousness. In fact, and sometimes we work together that way, Patrick and I. Matter of fact, sometimes we'll need help from people. They want to stay on the other side and not come back in. I've had that work with several people too. So it's a beautiful gift to have, and to be able to facilitate and show people what the angelic kingdom looks like, and remind them that they're not their fears, that they are love incarnate, and we're always going back home to love, even if we do it 10 times a day. And sometimes they're surprised when their heart opens up to what they truly are, and the levels of love that they can feel sometimes can overwhelm them, and they have to adjust a little bit, because it can be that beautiful. And the goal is, as we clear our junk, to come out into the world lighter and have a field also that we can extend our field and say, imagine setting your energy field when you're driving through a large city on auto clear, that you're just going to clear, because everything's energy. Even in a city, the metal cars are all energy, the children, the people, that you're going to clear that and take that up to a new level. We're working at those levels now, to where we can lift up, we don't just lift up ourselves, but many souls at one time. And it's amazing. We're being called to step it up even higher. So, exciting times to be in. Although very challenging, they're very exciting times to be in.
Yeah, and people are also experiencing different symptoms, aren't they, with the high frequencies coming through?
Yes, even at with an upgrade, and knowing that it's going to pass and you're going to integrate it, especially going to a whole new level. People could look at it as if, oh my God, my gift's getting stronger, my physical's just trying to adjust. Imagine if you were trying to take a 100-watt light bulb and stick it into an outlet that is only equipped to hold 50 watts. You're trying to stuff something new in. So that's the part that takes a little adjustment. That happens when the pineal gland really holds more light, and the rest of your physical is going to hold more light. There's some adjustments that happen, and one of them is the head pressure in the head that will come when the skull is expanding, and it can be pretty uncomfortable. But if you can just look at it like, okay, I'm passing through this, I can rest, or I can do whatever I do to ground. It's the divine spark grounding in and out through our feet that is really what we're trying to do. Bring even more of our soul into our body. But then again, we glow with light after that happens, and that's another step towards our full enlightenment. And so the metamorphosis is happening, and we're doing this in bodies. See, before we would have to die, and then would have to go and read our life review and see what we could change. And now we get to keep our body and go through the little deaths sometimes. So it's an interesting process, and it can be scary for a lot of people, especially when the ego's dying and the soul's going to take the reins. The ego's fragmented and it wants to protect you, and all sorts of things can happen. But knowing that you can bounce back and come back into the love frequencies, those are the highest places. Yes, those are the highest places that that we can dwell as a soul in our body, and then that becomes infectious rather than the fear that's out there in the world. When the love becomes infectious, we literally take that everywhere we go, and we light everyone else up. So it's kind of cool to see it work on the positive aspect.
Well, you just explained it so beautifully. I think it's you must be watching and seeing people changing all around you, particularly over the last, this year particularly. There's been so many shifts that people have commented upon. It does seem to be accelerating right now.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's why we've created this event at Conscious Living this year, to give people a direct experience of what living and being in these realms is like. And Patrick, do you want to share a little bit about what you're going to be facilitating at the opening?
Well, at the opening, Metatron's going to come through, and he's like the omniversal matrix, the fabric that planets and systems are built on. So it's not so much an angel. So he's going to set the tone and basically bring in a heavenly version of the event venue. And that way, that'll like a crystalline diamond or something level. And then he's going to really clear it out. Well, that's what sets the tone, and that's the reference that he can use. And then using the technology. And so hope that person's getting cleared. And so, because they're getting pretty close to the energy, so you got to take your time. It's okay. You don't have to force it, because goodness knows we're getting into a relaxed level of evolution now as much as possible, holding that place of peace. So then that's what's going to happen on your Friday is, so Metatron's going to come in, set the tone, and do some light language stuff, and he will invoke certain energy fields. And then on Sunday, on our event, we're going to do the Awakening to 5D, and the other one is on Wings of Light. And so Rebekah is going to create the divine feminine, and Cartron is going to create the divine masculine. And what's exciting, Patricia, is that this helps to inaugurate your online presence, so that then it's time for the Conscious Living Expo and festival, all that stuff, to really get out to the world, because what you do is so important. So that's what's going to happen this weekend, our intent. So we're creating a heavenly version of your expo.
Oh, it's so beautiful, because, that's always been my heartfelt intent, behind all the years that I've been bringing these events together. It's to give people, a direct experience of being in oneness, in light, in that, expansive place and being at home as well, feeling that this is where we really belong.
Yes.
And Rebekah's going to do some wonderful, whatever the angels have in store. It's usually always different, but it has a good theme of really clearing out stuff, so people can really clear. Now, the angels are stronger, and so there's some pretty cool, pretty intense energies, but we don't need these diseases and illnesses anymore, because our newer self is perfect and whole. So that's what's coming in. We're making room for this. And Rebekah has noticed crystallizing of the body and stuff for several years now. And so it's really creating our new earth bodies on that level too.
And you're talking about creating this beam of angelic energy, of healing light, that so people will be able to experience. That sounds really exciting.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing, and it's funny because distance doesn't matter. They'll definitely come into the rooms and meet them on the higher planes. It's one of the things about my group of angels I work with in particular. They're very palpable, which I love. Which is, so people can experience them you could talk about them for hours, but to actually feel them in a profound way, that's always the goal, and that's always what happens. It's remarkable. It's kind of like they definitely transcend time and space and kind of do their thing.
Yeah. Well, I know that when you created this in Melbourne, I think it was about 4 years ago, with the pillars. And I remember walking around and really feeling there was like we were in a temple, even in the midst of, people buying and selling products, and there was a lot going on, but underlying it all was this integrity of like truth and rightness, and you just feel that you're home, and it was just incredible.
That's why festivals like yours around the world can create the other dimension of what can be of love. So basically, it's opening a gateway to a higher version of our lives and our experiences together. So it's time really in 5D. Okay, we'll invite 5D in, and then you guys can be in that reality and see what it's like to go out and enjoy yourself in a celebration way of existence. So that's what our intent is for the event, bringing the angels and the interdimensionals in to really just raise it up and see what happens. So thank you so much for the gifts that you do, all this work and dedication, and it's really time now to take it to that next octave.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, thank you so much for being so generous. And I know the time differences are a bit tricky sometimes, but you're right. This is the future, that we can all connect at any time through this technology, and we can be uplifted. So it's going to be a great experiment, and we're really looking forward to it. So if anyone is interested, hasn't already found out about the event, you can go to consciouslivingexpo.com.au. Friday the 25th of October, 10 a.m. is the opening. It's a celestial activation on the main stage. And on Sunday the 27th at between 11 and 12:30, Patrick will be bringing through Cartron, with Rebekah bringing through the angelic beams of light and on wings of light. So come along, be part of it. And also we're going to be making that event on Sunday accessible to people around the world. So we'll put up the links so you can sign up to experience that wherever you are. And also for the opening ceremony, we're also going to open that up on Facebook Live as well. So it's going to be it's going to be great.
I have to friend her on Facebook too.
Yes. Yeah. I'm learning how to friend people on Facebook. So
I have to friend you on Facebook to make sure we're friends too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. You get on that feed. So thank you, Patricia, for everything, and we look forward to seeing you in a few days.
Yeah,
great.
Thank you,
Patrick. And thank you so much, Rebekah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
thanks everyone for watching.
and we will see you soon.